How's it going? It's all right. Let's get this right. Yeah, so I was, what's my title today? My weekly podcast. I was thinking about, been thinking about death. I've been thinking about it for a while, if I'm honest. But it fascinates me, death. It fascinates me from quite a few angles. I guess there's the starting one with like the effect it has when it happens. I went to, one of my cousins died a couple of years ago, and it fascinates me about the effect it has on everybody else in their own ways, And so I think about it quite a bit, and I think why does it affect us so much? So that's the piece that I come to, and I'm like, even when you have someone you don't even know dies, and that affects you, I'm like, why is this affected? Why does that affect me? Michael Jackson dies, and you think about it, and you're like, why am I thinking about that? And how long am I thinking about it? And you want to know the story and how and where and what did he do? Really? I don't get it. And I'm like, it kind of goes with, this is just my opinion, it kind of just goes with change. Something's changed, so that affects us. It almost has the same sense. And the reason I say I go death and change, I go, it makes no difference if someone dies to me, but it affects us. It changes our mode of thought. It can kind of lead us to make decisions or choices because death is amongst it, or the thought of death, or those feelings of change are amongst it, right? So I might be flipping in and out with the same thing as attributed to death is the same inherent thing that we do when something changes. You know what I'm saying? So change and the effect that change has on us, I guess death does the same thing. Yet we'll argue that it can have a deeper thing when maybe the person that dies is closer to us. Yet in the same breath, it's just someone that we knew of. Actually, doesn't matter how close they are. That affects me here. This person is a stranger. Doesn't affect me much. This stranger I knew for a month, 3 months. I hear he dies. You think about it, right? Or not. You think about the times that you knew him and what his story was. And then the more time you spend, with my children or my parents die, the effect seems larger on me or us or humans, but it's the same. It's the same result, right? It's change. Change is a loss, sense of loss or change. So I'm fascinated by it. I think the more I the more I think about change and attribute death with it, I'm able to go through the process a lot, I don't know, easier, but I'm able to logically work through it differently, I guess. I'm not going to be void of I won't be void of emotion. You know, the emotion is going to happen. I had an emotion when someone famous I hear about dies. Never knew him, never thinked him, liked his stuff. You know, I liked the movie the guy was an actor in. I might like the music that guy, human, sung, the song he does. He dies, I think about it. Do I think about it for long? Maybe not. Or, you know, it's in the news for a while. It might be in the media. It affects us. Affects the story. We go, okay. And then we carry on, right? And it's no different. I guess my parents are going to die. I'm going to die, and it's a process that I'm going to have to work through. Someone, you know, my brother, everyone I know is going to die, I think. You know, well, whether we agree with it or not, it's going to happen, right? And so, yeah, I thought I was thinking about death and going, well, that's just change and how I handle the change. And so I thought about this. The more I go through the process of understanding death and going, well, a lot of it's the emotions I feel is just through the change that's going to happen and built-in memories I have, right? Because I've got memories of that person. Someone just died right now. I'm not sitting there going and going through emotion right now. It's someone I know 20 years ago and was with him for 3 years, 6 months, a year, or I remember the guy or the person, and I hear he dies right now. You tell me someone that I've met in my past died, we'll talk about it, and my memories will go back to that piece there, and then there'll be a bit of like, okay, what happened, who did what, and there it is. Now that's not change, right? That didn't change too much, because within that is a timeline. That's 5 years ago. I haven't seen the guy. I haven't seen the person for 10 years, say. Yet if I know for a fact, if someone that I knew 10 years ago dies and I find out about it, I'm like, I'm interested in it. Oh, well, did he? Oh, it might only be a minute thing, but if me and you had known him for a while, we might talk about stuff about relating to that person for a lot longer. And I could venture out to what we did together, his other family members in or what we did together. And that can be through work, through sport, through whatever, plethora of things, right? So that's one interesting element of death. I guess the point I was getting to is when it's closer to you, the person's closer to you, and how you're going to deal with that, because you're with them now. So same argument would be said if a friend that I'm hanging out with now and known for the same amount of time. So I knew this guy here back 10 years ago for 3 years. Yet someone I'm talking to now regularly, he's in my regular circle, same as he was here. This person was in a regular circle with me. That person dies. Yep, got it. You know, talk about it, a little bit sad, go through some emotions, keep moving, right? This guy here dies. A friend that I'm seeing him twice a week because I hang out with him down the club or play sport with the guy. He dies. Whoa, more impactful and has more relevance to right now that I'll probably go to the funeral. I'll probably do some other bits and pieces, right? I can still go to this funeral, maybe not. But this one here, it's around me. This one will probably have residue for a lot longer. You with me? Whereas the residue of this will be there. I might flitter on it now and then. And so that's where I get to the change perspective, right? Because it's only because I'm in that circle now. He's dead. He's not there no more. That's an event. Is that the same speech that if the guy says he's going to move away, or he's leaving the club, or he's moving to there, or he's going to go do this instead? Okay, all right, I do that. We add that he died in there for some reason. It's taken on another layer of emotion there, right? Whereas he's in my circle. What's the difference? This guy could have died 10 years ago. It made no difference, right? The guy in front of me here, this guy here dies. What's the difference? What's the difference between him dying and moving away? I mean, it's a big difference for him, but it's really no difference for me. It's just that, oh, well, maybe I would have thought the guy that I knew 10 years ago, I could have bumped into him and had another chat with him and discussed something else. Or we might have started, if we played sports together, we could start playing sports together again, maybe. Or we could talk about those old stories. He's just not there to talk about those old stories with now. He's not visually there to talk about it. If someone else knows the stories, he's there. Okay, he's dead. You know what I mean? So those are the bits that fascinate me, because it gets like it goes through all sorts of stuff. And then you go, yeah. And people don't like me saying that, right? That you move away or you die, there's not much in it. Yeah, no, there's not too much in it, right? People don't like me saying that. I mean, there is a difference. But, you know, does that go to my selfishness again, right? How selfish am I? I don't know. No, I mean, I prefer you not to die. But I'm saying I've got to get over the change, is what I'm saying. There's a change to me, and I've got to deal with those memories are now the only memories we have. How's that? And so that's the bit, right? So the memories of this person, we could say, well, we can relive those memories together and talk about them, me and you, me and that person. If he's dead, I still have those memories, but I'm not going to relive them with that person anymore. And there's no opportunity for me to do that again. That's kind of the difference, right? And I'm not going to hear I'm not going to get an update of where are you now? Does that matter? I mean, does it matter that I know what your status is now? To a friend, probably not. You know, it'll be fine. Hear about what his kids are doing. Dad. Okay. But that's where we get more interesting, right? Is when we have that piece of friends and a little bit more distance. When I start talking about my parents, my children, my brother, cousins even. Cousins not so much. But okay, uncles, aunties. There seems to be this little bit. Is that because the memory is deeper rooted? Maybe. Is that because there's a longer stretches of time with them, even if you're not spending much time with them now? I'd say so. Or is it because it affects them as well? You know, so if my father dies, when me and my mother get together, it's going to be there, right? When me and my brother get together, it's going to be there. You know, when me and my children get together, we talk about our grandfather, right? So it's going to be, it connects in more ways of that sort of thing, right? And each of those pieces are dealing with the effect it had on them at their points in life, at their points of perspective, or where it comes to in their minds, right? So it's so more far-reaching. Yet in the same breath, we could say, let's take death out and say that person, my dad, split up with my mum and moved to here. It's not the same as death, but it's got all the same. It affects everybody. Hey, you know. So look, I know we probably all know this in its context. I just thought I'd rabbit on about it, but using death as the kind of instigator of having that, associating death with a result. This happened, and the effect on us, and then what's really going on to me in that same thing of change or a loss or memories, bringing up memories of the past and dealing with those memories of the past. If it's someone more distant, or if it's someone in my circles that I'm touching with a lot more, how that will affect me more. And then generally, if they're touching me here, they're touching 4 or 5 people around me at the same time. What's interesting too is that you may not even have much day-to-day contact with those people. You know what I mean? Like me and my mum and dad, I might not see them for weeks, months even. I know other people may not see their parents for years, right? And it doesn't change for your children. I may not see my children physically for years on end, potentially, right? That's going to happen probably, but you know what I mean? Like it doesn't seem to matter how many times you might see them or talk to them. It still has all that residue around it. And it's the same with the change. If one of my children rings up and says they're going to do ABC, they're going to relocate to here, relocate to there, I'll think about it. It will have an effect on me. And I think, why? Why does that have an effect on me? I mean, they didn't die, right? They're not dead. So I think change has a lot to do with death, I reckon. And because we struggle with change, we struggle with change for ourselves. So why would we not struggle with the change in death? So it makes sense. So it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, so I don't know where I was going with that. That was just, I guess that's how my mind works. I reckon through that I'm able to, I think I'm able to work through situations using that perspective. So I use that perspective. It enables me to ground myself. It's almost like a ground zero type of concept, right? I can go to a funeral and be, I wouldn't say it's heartless. I mean, I'm upset, but I'm understanding that this is part of the process. And back to my struggle thing, when you're uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable. Death is uncomfortable, and so I look for that because I think there's more upside, because it's out of my control, right? It's out of my control. So now I've just got to deal with what's here, and I've got to deal with it's out of my control, this particular death, and how it's affected other people that are in my circles, how that death's affected them has an impact on me, right? Potentially. And I'll have an impact on them the other way. Yeah. I find it fascinates me too about how come we want to know so much. But like that funeral I went to, it was a suicide funeral. And that's another element of death. It's almost that human thing, right? Because we know death is a piece in there and it affects us all. We can use it we can use it as a tool to get people to do certain things. You know, it's kind of the bit about death that I find a bit I struggle with the most. Is that, death is a tool to get you to change. So we change it from changing because that person's died to using death as a reason, as a tool to get you to do something different or to change what you're doing now. You know, you smoke. This is the stereotype one. You're smoking a lot. You'll die. You're going to die of lung cancer. You need to stop doing that. So that's what I mean by using it as a tool, right? In that broad sense. And they use it in that. We can use it in that sense. We can use it in a sense of, I guess, any behaviors we use. We can always bring in the death piece, or the dying, or the effect it has on us, and what could happen from what I'm doing now, what it potentially could happen down track to this person. Maybe like bullying. You know, the bullying thing seems to be common. So I bully someone, you know, I pick on someone, or I tease someone, or it affects that person, and they committed suicide. Did I contribute to that guy's suicide, or my cousin's suicide because of my actions now or then? And we could have prevented it if I didn't act that way, if I didn't tease him about something, you know, if it's classified as bullying, if I didn't take his lunch. I'll admit I used to do that. I know. Look, I'm not proud of it. I just don't know if I could. Change that. Whether I'm proud of it or not, it's true. Did my lunch get taken? Don't recall it. Not enough for me to realize. I'm sure someone took my lunch at some point in my life. Don't know. If we want to classify bullying, don't know why I'm getting into the bullying thing. It's just an example of that bullying. Example of me bullying today leads to suicide for the victim, right? I'm not sure about that. Not sure, but you know, we're quite good at bringing in those as a tool of death. You know, stop smoking, or you'll die. Stop doing that, or you'll die. Don't do that to others, or they will die, or they will kill themselves, and you would have killed them. That's what we're trying to say here, right? What I did to these kids, what I did to someone affected them enough that they potentially could kill themselves from it. Okay. I think awareness. I guess what I'm saying is I don't need death in there to become more aware. How's that? You know, threats of dying or me killing someone is not a way that I'm going to change my bullying potentially. I think just be aware of it and go, you know, it's a lot trickier when you're in that system. I guess we see it. I mean, smoking advertised is going to kill me. People are smoking. So the threat hasn't changed. It's still there. They're aware of the threat too. So threatening is kind of almost a threatening system. So yeah, so death is a tool. So I find that interesting. It fascinates me. Then I go, well, death is a motivator, right? Well, it is for me anyway. When I think of things in certain ways, I find it very motivating. I find it more motivating to keep me on track with balance and to keep me challenging myself. You know, so it's not through fear. It's through reality, I suppose. It's just the truth. I don't know how many people are going to convince me or tell me other stories that I am not going to. I am going to. The only variable I have right now is when. You know, I'm here now. I will die. So here's today. Here's the future. At some point, I don't think it matters what I believe in, what I agree with or disagree with, or what any of my opinions don't mean it add up to nothing. It's ending here. And then I guess that's a fact. So that's unchangeable. I can die next week, or I can die in 5 years, 2 years, 6 months, whatever. Then we get into the more interesting one is how. The how I die, or the how. And you're going, well, okay, that maybe there's maybe that's why the tools and the threats come in, is that, well, you could die, you'll die of lung cancer because you're smoking today. Okay, yeah, well, that was still the same result, that I died. So if I die of lung cancer and I died, okay, I go through that way of dying. If I die by having an accident on the motorway, that's how I died. If you died, you went to sleep and your heart stopped, or you choked on something, you died, right? How, where, makes no difference. The result, I guess what I'm saying is the result is the same, and we're going to have to deal with the effects of it anyway, right? But we don't stop there. We kind of can't help but project what happened here, as we see it over here. We project, don't want that to happen to me. I don't want that to happen here. Let's make some differences. Let's make some changes because I don't want to die. Well, you're gonna die, so rule that bit out. I don't want to die that way. Okay. Well, good luck with that. You're gonna die. You're gonna die a certain way. You're gonna die the way you're gonna die. Do I have a control on the way I die? Well, in a weird way, suicide is the way that you actually decide how you die. That's interesting. So that could actually be a logically good decision. Not good, but a decision that you made. Yeah. So you can people that commit suicide chose how they died. Yeah, interesting. And then it affected, and everyone gets upset about how much it affected them. Why should that matter? Yeah, interesting. Why should it matter if I kill myself now? I chose how I died. Thought, I'll make a decision. I'm my choice. I'll do that. And the effect that on everyone else, that's up to them to deal with, isn't it? Why is that my problem? It's not my problem. So you deal with it, and you can deal with it. Will it make you feel better if I died because my heart gave out? Will that make you feel better? The result is the same. Change the effect, the thing on it. The story narrative changes a bit. It's true. So yeah, I don't know why I digressed into that. That's what I do, I suppose. Interesting. So yeah, so I think, I don't know, this must be how my mind works. I like mulling over scenarios, especially when I like to problem solve. We have all, or when I make decisions, right? Because I kind of make decisions every day. I've got these at work, there's decisions to make. Let's make that decision, blah, blah, blah. And I think death helps me reduce the fear factor of it all. Kind of has a calming effect on the whole perspective of it. I'm able to pull that in. So yeah, death. So what was I going with that? Oh, so it's going on the positive fronts. So how it motivates me, right? And I guess it's just one of the pieces in what motivates me for several things. It's not the reason I get up in the morning and to go running is because I'm going to die. It's actually knowing that there's a timeline and knowing that in the perspective of everything, it's quite liberating to know it doesn't matter what other people think of me. It makes no difference. I'm going to die. I know that. So how I live my life is how I've lived my life, and it's going to be a story. That's all it's going to be. If I die this afternoon, my story is going to be my story, and the people that are connected to me are going to have to deal with it, and they're going to deal with it however way they deal with it. You can say there's this reason, there's that reason, whichever. Okay, you know, I don't think I sit here and say, well, my grandfather died, that affected me a lot, so I did ABC. I don't have that. Maybe I'm weird. Maybe I needed some of that earlier in life. I've had close friends die, and I won't say I enjoyed the process, but I learned a lot. I really got into it and followed the whole process through and kind of established some sort of connection with it all, right? And yeah, I haven't had too many people close to me die yet, so that's going to be a interesting journey. If I don't die first, right? That will annoy me. I think that would annoy me the most. What will annoy me more? That I die before you die? Someone else dies? I think it would. I think it would annoy me. I mean, I'm dead, so it doesn't matter, but I think I'd rather go through the process of someone else dying and whatever that brings. I hate to say it. I mean, I don't want anyone to, I'm being clear here. I'm not saying I want everyone to die, but back to my selfishness, I don't really want to die. Well, I'd rather have to go through that process. How's that? I even said this at a funeral. I don't know why I'm going to tell you this, but I said this at a funeral was, I'll be okay with this. People that have been on the planet longer or existed longer as a human, so older, you guys die first, and I'll go through that process. If you're younger than me, I'm okay with that. If I die before you guys die, you with me? So if you're younger than me, and I don't get, and you don't, and I don't get to go to your guys' funerals and go through that process, that's not an issue. I'm not annoyed about that. If you're older than me and I die, I'd rather you die first. So I'll wait till you guys die and go and deal with. I'll deal with my auntie dying. I'll be sad. I will be sad, but I'll go through that process. Ooh, my wife's older, so I'll go through that process. If she dies before me, she's older. I've heard those ones, right? You have those ones where people go, oh, especially couples married. No, you die before. I'll die before you. I couldn't live if you were dead. Well, it would be uncomfortable, and it would affect me. right? I'm not going to deny. What I'm saying here is I'm not trying to minimize the whole thing, but I am saying is I'll deal with it. And I'd rather, selfish as I am, I'd rather have to deal with it than I'm dead and they dealt with my death and the bits around it. You with me? I'd prefer that. And if you want to even it out, it's only because let's just do, if we're going to be rational, you've been here longer than I've been here, right? Which death won't care. You know, people younger than me are gonna, that I'm close to, are gonna die before me potentially. So death won't care. But if I'm going to have a system of, I guess here I am controlling the narrative. But I'd be more inclined to have people. I'm more inclined to prefer people older than me dying first. How's that? I said that to my uncle. I said, look, you know, I like you in that, but I'd rather you died before I did. You know, I'd rather go for that. And he laughed at that. Thought that was funny. I think I was more in tune with when you have a suicide and someone takes their own life. It's more kind of pointed at, you know, killing yourself it seems annoying to us that don't kill ourselves. How's that? But I just think it's the same result, right? Suicide seems like a mental thing. I presume. You know, each to their own. Whatever you're going through, if you don't get enough support for it. If you're going to blame me for bullying you, and that's why you died, I'm not sure about that, man. I'm not sure. You know, we're going to say it was parenting, you know, we're going to say it's all these sorts of things. That's back to you about how you can handle, that's handling the process. It's handling it, you know. If one of my kids kill themselves deliberately with suicide and leave a letter saying that I was all these things, I'd have to deal with it, I suppose. You know, does that mean I change everything I'm doing now? Do I change how I'm speaking my opinions, how I say things? Maybe I have to wait and see. I have to wait and see how that plays out. Because that's the thing about things, right? You know, how many things can I change? You know, and I guess you still have to prove. If you have to prove that I'm the result, or I contribute a lot to it, even if they write a letter saying that it's because of me that you did it, it's still not enough. We can ignore the letter. Oh, you're a bit. Oh, beautiful. I think you're a bit. Yeah, look. There's a letter about you and what you said and the way you treated this person, and that's the direct result of why they killed themselves. I'd have to. I'm not sure, mate. I don't. Yeah, who wrote that? Yeah, nah, he. Oh yeah. So yeah. So I think that's it for today. Death fascinates me. Why? Yeah, man. Fascinates me. Change. I reckon it's mostly connected to change. So what I'm trying to say is, if you think of things in that context, it can strip away all this fear and doubt and worry and all those types of things. And I think what it's done for me is kind of brings me more present into like I think it brings me more into like this is closer to reality versus all these what ifs and who's doing that and what this judgment and who thinks me of this and who think, mate, really? Reduce your judgment. I mean, I tell people that I don't think there's a God. They'll all judge me and say, oh, all right, fine. Think of what you think. Say what you want. Got it. It makes no difference. It makes no difference. The person smoking his cigarettes over there, the person eating that over there, whatever. That's what they're doing. Okay, we're humans. Let's keep on keeping on, you know. And death is like a real cool way to like level it out, I reckon. Death doesn't care how rich you are. Death doesn't care how good you are or what sort of person you were being and all that sort of stuff. Doesn't care. You're dead. And that's the great leveler of death. And then understanding that, me understanding death encouraged me and promotes me. It seems like an oxymoron, right? You're thinking, well, you're gonna die anyway, just lie over there and just sit in the corner there. You know, I can even attribute death to comfort, right? Because, oh well, why are you trying to better yourself? Why are you trying to do more? You're just gonna die. Yeah, that's interesting. I had the same speech about why, if you don't believe in God, well, there's nothing else. There's no heaven. You know, there's no heaven. Why live? Okay, I disagree. I live more. I don't live more. I live. You see, I can't say I live more. I live too. I'm living. I'm doing these things. You see. And I don't know, these words pop up like purpose and satisfaction and thing. I find it more satisfying. I find it a lot more satisfying achieving some project or working through some problem thing and being uncomfortable and struggling through it. I find that a lot more satisfying. I don't know. You know, when I got up yesterday and went for a run, and it's painful. It was niggly. I was injured a bit, you know, and I go through that. That was much more satisfying than the run I had the other day, where I ran it. My numbers were for me were okay. You know, I did some good numbers and lifted some weights and things. Okay, I enjoyed that one, but I enjoyed that. If you compare the two, yet I preferred that one. I just did, and there was more upside to that one. There was more upside to the struggle, and so there's more upside, not that from death. Yeah, well, how is there upside to death? Death is inevitable. Death is what's going to happen, and I'm going to learn from it. I'd rather learn from someone else's death, and I'm going to have to go through that process. I've been through deaths before, gone through the processes of it, and in the future, I'm going to go through more of them, probably, unless I die first. That's what I keep saying. But it's likely that I'm going to go through other people's deaths, and through that uncomfortableness, things will happen. You know, it's great. It's really great. You see how death gets me motivated, gets me fascinated and understanding, and I guess what I'm trying to say, it really perspectivizes it really brings me back into like this ground zero situation. All these things go on. Death has that way for me personally anyway. It's like not a tool in fear, not a tool in control, not a tool that I use in, oh mate, you're going to die if this happens to you. If you keep doing that, you'll die. No, No, I don't use it for those. I use it for me to bring me back into understanding and perspectivizing. You know, I'm here. There's a timeline here. I go, well, of that timeline, it's going to be broken up to things. I know, for me anyway, I enjoy progress. I enjoy developing. I enjoy learning, probably more than anything. It's weird. And like I say, progress comes in different ways, you know, different forms. And death is a real neutralizing way of getting me to go, the timeline. There's a timeline here. And it's almost giving me this motivation and tool to use to go, while I'm doing this particular project, I go, oh, what's my son up to today? What's he doing? Oh, yeah, he's doing that. Oh, man, we'll go hang out. Go hang out and muck around on something else. You know, oh, my daughter, I'll send her a letter. Say, what's happening? Who you doing what? You know, and talk dumb stuff, you know, or complex stuff, whichever. I try not to be, I'm complex, I guess, more than most, but it's just gossip and chat and talk. I go then, well, those are pieces. I'll ring my mum, ring my dad, and we'll have different spins of conversations. And that's enough, you know, that satisfies me. Just like going for a run this morning, satisfied me physically, got me motivated, got me emotion. They kind of all go together. And death is another one that synchronizes me, you know. Physical exertion sort of synchronizes me. It gets the physical side, and death is kind of like an emotional tool that I use to pull me back into synchronizing all my emotions, and then it sprouts off into, because that's a mental state. So my mental side's built into both those actions. How's that? So now we've established that death is a motivational tool, but not in a sense of regret or fear or challenge or that sort of thing, but from a synchronization point. And it's actually quite a cool factual thing to build from, right? Back to my science kind of style, is that I like to build things from known facts versus hypotheses. You know, I can build them from, you know, if you talk scientific theories. Scientific theory means it was evidenced and proven and all that sort of stuff. I build from those, or I build from scientific facts, from what they call those rules. So the rule of the laws. So we've got law of gravity. So we build from the law of gravity. We've got gravity. I guess death is in the law. There's a law of death, whether it's there anyway. It's just the law. Then you got theories that presume that they're proven through it. The theory of gravity is a proven theory. And then you get hypotheses. Hypotheses haven't gone through the scientific process so much. Yeah. And hypotheses, unfortunately, is where religion and all those other types of things sort of sit lower down there. You know, they're not in the law basket, and they're not in the theory basket. They're in the basket over here, hypotheses or less. You know, they're more of an opinion. Unfortunately, they're kind of unknown. You know, it's back to that fiction versus fact. Kind of, they're in the fiction side of the things. Not anyway, I don't want to digress on that. So death is definitely a motivational tool in that sense. So have I got my point across here? When we flipped and flopped a bit, But yep, that's cool. I want to keep on keeping on. What do I do here? And we'll go